A 100 million price tag for a speed merchant. Surely Liverpool won't fall into this trap. There is no hiding that the fact the Reds are expected to spend big next summer, and the most obvious areas that needs attention is the defence. We can try to avoid this conversation, but the reality is hard to ignore. Virgil van Dijk's time at Anfield is slowly coming to an end, and planning for life after him is no longer optional. At the same time, Ibrahima Konate has shown flashes of quality, but his performances have been inconsistent, and then there is still uncertainty surrounding the contract extension. Joe Gomez has been a loyal servant to the club and has stepped up so many times when needed, but trusting his fitness and consistency over a full season remains a concern. On top of that, Leone has suffered a serious injury and will still need time to recover, but also adapt to the intensity and the physical demands of the Premier League. Because of all of this, it feels almost inevitable that Liverpool will look to strengthen the back line with new blood. Recently, rumours have started to circulate linking the Reds with Spurs defender Mickey van der Ven. The Dutchman is reportedly a Liverpool supporter and is said to be open to a move this summer, with Anfield mentioned as his preferred destination. As you would expect, this has quickly caught the attention of fans who are already thinking about the future of our defence. But the big question remains, is the 24-year-old really worth the reported £100 million price tag his club are demanding? That is not a small amount by any means, especially for a defender whose biggest strength seems to be his pace. To answer that question properly, we need to take a closer look at the player and his qualities, and what he would actually bring to this Liverpool side. So make sure you do hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and let us jump straight into the video. Now let us start with the reason behind all the Van der Ven hype and why so many people see him as a top level defender. It really is quite simple. Mickey is without a doubt one of the fastest, if not the fastest centre backs in the world. What makes his pace even more surprising is the fact that he stands at 6'4". Finding a defender with that kind of height who is also incredibly quick is extremely rare in modern football. This combination alone makes the Dutchman a nightmare for forwards, especially when teams try to play long balls in behind the defence. Mickey's pace, height and physical strength allows him to cover huge spaces and recover ground in ways that most defenders can only wish for. This is clearly a standout trait. He is quick, physically imposing, and offers something every top team looks for when playing with a high defensive line. In the Premier League, pace and strength are almost non-negotiable qualities. That said, they should not only be the only thing a club considers when recruiting a player, especially when we are talking about potential £100 million signing. Because of that, it is important to dig a little deeper and look at other parts of his game. When it comes to Van der Ven's 1-against-1 defending, there are still some areas where he can improve. In certain situations, he relies heavily on physical advantages instead of sharp reactions, footwork and defensive technique. This can be exposed from when he comes up against tricky and agile attackers. For example, if we look at this duel against Somerville, a winger known for his quick feet and unpredictability, we start to see moments where Mickey can be tested when pure pace is taken out of the equation. Notice how many times he gets caught with his heel flat on the ground in these situations. This small detail can make or break a defensive 1v1. When a defender is caught on his heels, it becomes much harder to react quickly, shift weight and change direction. Instead of being light on his feet and ready to move, he ends up planted, which gives the attacker that split-second advantage. In another moment, this time against Evanilson, you can clearly see the same issue appear. Mickey gets stuck in place and ends up reaching out with his leg, trying to poke the ball away rather than staying balanced and in control. Being on his heels here plays a huge role in why he is forced into that kind of desperate action, and against top-level attackers, those moments can be easily punished. Now, to be fair to Mickey, he does get it right most of the time, especially in the situation where he clearly invites the forward into a race, knowing he has the pace to reach the ball first. In those moments, his speed becomes a huge weapon and allows him to defend large spaces with confidence. But guys, while he can definitely improve his stance in 1v1 situations and focus more on staying on his toes, there is another part of his game that also needs attention. Van der Ven is naturally an aggressive defender. He likes to step out of line and put immediate pressure on forwards, and more often than not, it works. His pace and physical strength allows him to close down space quickly and throws attackers off balance. That said, this aggression can sometimes work against him. In example, against Mattia, you can see how he slightly overcommits when stepping in. He once again gets caught on his heels, like we mentioned earlier, which allows the forward to quickly change direction and exploit the space. Mickey does well to recover and eventually wins the ball back with a strong tackle, tackle, but it forces him into extra work and a last-ditch defensive action that could have been avoided with better control and timing. Here is another situation that highlights the same issue. Mickey is a little too aggressive in his approach. Instead of staying patient and showing the forward down the line, where he could then rely on his pace and win the race on the outside, he chooses to lunge in early. This then puts him in an awkward body position, and once that happens, the forward is able to get past him with relative ease. Moments like this show why controlling his aggression is just as important as using it. Now, do not get us wrong, we love a proactive defender. The willingness to step out and take responsibility is a big plus, but sometimes it can be a little too much, and when that happens, it can hurt both the team and the players himself. Some would even argue that Mickey's injury record is linked to how aggressive he is. His defensive approach often forces him into unnecessary work, meaning he has to perform high-intensity actions over and over again within the same game. When you look at the fact that 6 of his most recent injuries have all been muscular, it's hard not to connect the dots. When it comes to purely defending, there are really 2 main areas that could take Van de Ven to another level. Better control of his aggression and sharper 1v1 stance would elevate his overall game significantly, but defending is only one side of the story. The other big question we need to ask is, how good is he on the ball? And this is where things get very interesting. Remember how we praised his pace and power when defending? The exact same qualities shine through when he has the ball at his feet. Mickey is arguably the best ball carrying centre back in the league, and no, that is not an exaggeration. The moment he decides to drive into space, you instantly feel progress being made. Within seconds, his team has pushed the ball into the opposition's half, his acceleration over the first few yards is unreal, and he uses his arms brilliantly to protect the ball while moving at speed. That assist against Manchester United and the goal he scored this season are perfect examples of just how dangerous he can be when he carries the ball forward. But let us say, if Liverpool do sign Mickey next summer, will he get the same amount of space to carry the ball forward at speed like he does now? Well, probably not, at least not on a regular basis. It will be a very useful weapon in transition, especially on counter-attacks, but against low blocks, that strength is likely to be limited. So that naturally leads us to the next question: how good is his passing? This is where the concerns start to show. From what we have seen, this does not look particularly encouraging. Mickey rarely attempts progressive passes. In simple terms, he does not actively look to break lines or find a forward option. Most of the time, his passes go sideways or backwards to a safer teammate. We think there are 2 main reasons behind this. The first could be tactical. Thomas Frank, who is somehow still in charge at Spurs, may not want his centre-backs taking risk on the ball, or at least not Van de Ven. From what we have observed, Romero is usually the one trusted to attempt more line-breaking passes. The second reason is down to Mickey's ball manipulation. This is not about dribbling with the ball, but about how comfortable a player is standing on it, rolling it under their foot, and using small movements to draw opponents in and open passing angles. Mickey almost never does this. Instead, he looks to move the ball on as quickly as possible. When he is under pressure, his go-to option is to go long, and he does it without much hesitation. At times, it feels like he is more focused on getting rid of the ball safely, rather than taking a moment to assess and play through the lines. Now, with all that said, where does this leave us with Mickey Van de Ven and that massive 100 million price tag? Right now, if we're being honest, it's hard to justify that kind of money. Yes, he is fast, powerful, and offers a unique profile that very few centre-backs in the world can match. His ability to recover space, defend high lines, and carry the ball forward at speeds is elite. Those qualities alone make him a very good defender and a valuable asset for any top team. However, football at the highest level is about more than just physical traits. For that price, you expect a complete centre-back, someone who is calm in 1v1 situations, who knows when to be aggressive and when to hold back, and who can consistently help progress the ball with smart passing. Right now, Mickey still has clear areas to work on, especially when it comes to his defensive control and his ability on the ball under pressure. That being said, the potential is obvious. He is only 24, and many centre-backs do not reach their peak until later in their careers. If he sharpens his defensive details, controls his aggression, and adds more confidence and variety to his passing game, then we could be talking about a true top-level defender. If those improvements happen, Mickey Van de Ven absolutely has the tools to become a 100 million centre-back in the future. So what do you guys think? Should Mickey Van de Ven be on the top of our transfer list next summer, or should we be going for a cheaper and potentially a more complete defender? Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for more.